Um, Welcome to ZW Fans and Legends Show. Um, Today I'm with Prince, and we hope to have other guys joining us a little bit later on to discuss the happenings that have been happening in our Zim football. Um, yeah, I think you've seen a lot happening in the past week. Some of it comical, some of it very good, and some very good news. Um, as you may well know, I think we all know. Uh, we had technical teams, all the Warriors teams appointed by ZIFA from the under 15 level up to the senior national teams for both the ladies and the gentlemen. They were appointed. Um, Another thing that has happened, good news, that the Warriors will now be able to play at our national sports stadium, something that we've been waiting for a long time. So that's a bit of good news. Uh, some other comical news, I guess there's been the Zimbabwe fans now have a new they have a new
Poster
hero
boy.
yes, Wokupa Chegumi in Nathan Tasa, who's been putting in a few touches and a few pre-assists and assists in the past few weeks. So it's got a lot of people who are very excited in Zimbabwe. So yeah, I think that's what we're gonna be discussing much on. So I guess maybe the starting point for our discussion is um, I think we hope in this video we hope not to bash FIFA, and we hope for you guys not to see us as people who just bash FIFA. We're just gonna try to look at the advantages or the merits and the demerits of other things that have happened in the past week, including the appointment, including the stadium issue, and GG. Because, as you know, this program is not intended to batter anyone or to put anyone down. What we want is to ensure that our football goes and we do better. Yeah. So yeah, for maybe we can start. I think as a panel, there's something that we've been calling for in the past few months that FIFA must also see our former legends who have learned or we have learned European football, the likes of George Mbwando, Max Lunga, now Makanza, to go into the structures. And some of them have been appointed into the junior structures of some of the national teams, including also Kaitano was the former caretaker. Um, so what do you think on that one? Are there positives? Are there negatives? Are there fears for those appointments?
I think thank you so much, OJ. I think first of all, I think this is a good step in the sense that, we've been crying for sort of, a leadership that has foresight.
Yeah,
People would think 3, 4 years ahead. And I mean, we've seen with the appointment of this technical staff, they've been given 4-year contracts, and I feel those I don't know the ins and outs of the contracts in terms of performances and whatnot, but it is a good step in the sense that now it's easy to track performance and we know where we're going as a country. And with these guys coming in, it looks like everything is in order. We now have a home stadium, so less excuses, and we now have a footballing structure from, under 15 levels to, the senior team with people, with the mixture of both international and likes of Chiragui bringing in, that local knowledge to the game. So I think it's a step in the right direction, and kudos to Zifa for, for making sure that they plan 4 years ahead. It's as if they've been listening to us, which is great.
yeah,
It shows that they listen. And then we spoke of legends. I like the bringing in of the likes of George Mbwando. I've heard him speak in in most in some other platforms. You can tell that that's someone with experience, both Zim and abroad. I've seen him even coaching, his videos coaching. He's someone I think who can bring a lot to the boys in terms of mentality. We've spoken of the mentality that in the mentality deficit that we've had in our country in terms of talented players not making it. But I feel like this is a proper pipeline for players to have an under 15, under 17, under 20 and team, and the fact that the under 23 coach is the assistant coach as well for the senior team shows that there's synergy there. We're definitely doing
Progression.
something. This is a step in the right direction. And then I on the on the other hand, one might argue that we've hired someone with not much coaching pedigree. In Roman Catala, they've given him a 4-year contract. Hopefully, that contract has certain performance markers in terms of
Yeah.
short-term goals that he needs to achieve, leading up to the Vision 2030, obviously, that we want to go to the World Cup. And now I think the next step for Zifa now would be to appoint people who who deal with in term getting a database
Yeah.
of Zimbabwean players with Zim origin from under 15 level up to the senior. We've seen someone I saw recently, a kid who's playing for Man City, who's been signed by Man City, a 15-year-old with Zimbabwean roots. So now that the technical stuff is done, the coaching stuff is done. Now the scouting as well needs to be on point.
Yeah.
That we blend, international, because we don't want a team that's 100% European or 100% local. We want a team, that brings the best performances. So I think a mixture of both local and international based players under one philosophy,
Yeah.
will definitely take us to the next step.
Yeah. Um, Related to the underage groups, I think last week we got very bad news from Zifa when they confirmed that our under 20s were not gonna play in the COSAFA qualification groups, and that would then lead to, I think, the AFCON for the boys, and
Yes.
then the from the AFCON for the boys, I think that's where the teams that will go to the World Cup will come from. Um, that move for me, I was not happy with that move. Um, the justification from FIFA has been, uh, and we wanted to compete. Um, is that justification enough? Do you stop playing your national teams just because you want to compete? Even before that, is it in the spirit of football? Because I think if we're a region, we're supposed to be participating in a tournament, means there's a contribution that we are giving towards that playing of the tournament. So the justification, equity, we wanted to compete. For me, Zifa had what almost is it 1.5 years in office, and now they are saying we didn't have the structures. Is it justification enough?
No, because these people spend all the days in the office. They've been in office for almost 2 years now. You can't tell me that you haven't found a way to get an under 20 team to go and compete in Kwasafa. What's the point of having the Coca-Cola tournament?
Yeah,
What's the point of we have junior league, so obviously the players are there. It's just Zifa being disorganized, Zifa being Zifa. That's classic Zifa, in my opinion.
yeah,
It's not the first time something like this has happened. I remember the Mighty Warriors had to cancel certain games, which led them not to qualify for AFCON. So maybe there's prioritization on aesthetics
yeah,
more than the actual football. They always want to look good, but Rome wasn't built in a day. You have under 20 players who are playing in the local league.
yeah,
You had a player that you said was not good enough for the under 17s, Lucas Harrington. He was playing today for Hull City. He's only 18. He was playing for Hull City. marking the likes of Rashford. So there is talent, but he now plays for Australia, unfortunately,
Yeah.
all because we are not as organized and we focus mostly on hubris.
Yeah.
We focus mostly on the unimportant stuff. We want to look good instead of
Yeah.
doing good. So I was particularly displeased by Zifa's move to do that. Maybe they wanted to bring in the new coaches, but why not throw them in?
Exactly.
Throw them in, give them the database, select the under 20, because these are boys. The unfortunate part is that some of them are 19, and it was probably
Yeah.
their
They've
last
they've
chance
lost their chance. Yeah.
to get scouted.
Yeah.
And if we don't have an under 20 team, that is very worrying. And it shows that the guys who've been appointed have a really big task on their hands, because
Yeah.
I would assume that there's no database as well. There's no statistics.
Yeah. But
If
that's where we were saying that these guys have had many years, 1.5 years to be in office, and again before wapinda office, you're supposed to have looked for my structures up to ensure with within the first month you have all the data that you need to. Because my players, is it difficult to that's out my under 20s? Okay, with my under 20s that are based in the UK. Kawaii Ono Ghana, they've appointed John Mbwando and he was in Germany. It would be very easy for
we
him
take
to
camp,
just,
yeah,
yeah, just come with a camp, they select some players. Wounganidza vanhu vari kuZimbabwe Waiter camp, they select the best players, the under 20s play. I don't think there's justification
that
for
was
that.
lazy. It was just a lazy decision by Zifa. It just shows they don't want to do the work. You see, they kept quiet even about the stadium and all of this about the coaches because they want to look good. Obviously, what they've done in selecting coaches is great, but they focused too much on looking good.
Yeah,
Too much aesthetics, too much PR nonsense.
because
But what
you'd
suffers
also,
is the kids.
yeah, you'd also wonder, but you're saying we have Vision 2030 for to qualify for the World Cup 2030. If your under 20s are not playing right now, then
COSAFA, and
yeah,
it's not a big tournament. It's COSAFA.
yeah, then
If we
where do
can't
you expect?
participate in COSAFA, I'm sorry. Hapana kwatiri kuenda. We're just wasting our time
Yeah,
because it's COSAFA. I mean, logistics, the COSAFA, they are not that difficult. And we
yeah.
hosted that under 17. What happens to the boys who played in that under 17 team?
Those are
Wesadombas,
the best
Chakuchichi,
players
all those
are
players.
supposed to be now
Our
coming into.
Kiwe are now
Yeah,
supposed to be coming into the under 20. So, uh, I know it's one step forward, two steps back,
yeah,
because what does it even say? We've always talked about, wanting our country to look good, to be respected when it comes to football. But, who's going to invest in a national team that can't even produce an under 20 team?
yeah.
No one's going to want to invest their money in that. Even the private sector is going to, no, not interested. Sorry. So it's it's quite sad. I feel very sad for the players who've been playing well and played well in the recent Coca-Cola tournament. Obviously, looking forward to some trials or some call-ups, and hopefully that's how you break into professional football. If you're
Mm,
good at under 20s. We've seen the likes of Sergio Aguero, Leo Messi. They were outstanding in under 20
yeah,
tournaments. That's how your Victor Osimhen. They were outstanding. You know, at under
yeah.
17, under 20 level, and they got scouted to Europe. So it's you're robbing kids of a potentially life-changing tournament.
Yeah.
Given the economic situation of Zimbabwe. It's goes far beyond wanting to look organized. But if a player is very talented and if the COSAFA's played in South Africa, gets scouted, it's a big win for Zimbabwe. It's a big win for him and his family. So I feel like Zifa really did a disservice to the country in terms of this. And hopefully now that they've announced all of this, we don't see kids wearing or the women's team wearing Puma yakatengwa kuma shops uku the
Yeah,
underage team achipfeka Puma whereby and the men's team ichipfeka that warrior pride
proper warrior pride.
match. So let's just make sure kuti everything is proper. Let's
Yeah.
munhu wese kana tichipfeka Nike, it's Nike. Adidas, it's Adidas. Hatsaite zvemushikashika. Hopefully zvinhu zvacho, we stop doing zvinhu pachimushikashika. Let's just
Yeah.
do things the right way.
So before we move up to the senior men's, I know there'll be a lot of debate there. Does anything shout out to you concerning the underage coaches for the women as well as the boys? Any names that shout out? I do not put the former Mighty Warriors coach, Rosemary Mugadza. I think she was recycled quite a bit more Mighty Warriors. Is now the women's under 20 coach. And then the assistant is Nyson Mchekela. I know Nyson Mchekela has been assistant for quite a number of men's team. I'm not sure of his background in the women's game. Then we've got a Jadson Mapos for the women under 17, and then Irene Mwanza for the women's under 15. Yes, these people have been involved in the women's football, so hopefully it works for them. I did not I think there's a coach was coaching for one of the men's teams, or he's an assistant in one of the men's teams.
Yeah.
Ango, he was just parachuted to my women's structures. I think it could be the Mighty Warriors assistant coach. Do you think it works with is the game the same? The women's game and the men's game, that coach Agarku men Nanungo straight into the women's
I
structure?
I would give him the benefit of the doubt, because I'm sure it would have not been a problem if it was a woman being brought into the men's team.
Yeah,
So as long as he fits in terms of qualification and has a pedigree that backs that he can perform, I think what we can do is give him the benefit of the doubt. Because once we'll be going down a very deep rabbit hole if we start saying, he's a man, what is he doing in women's football? She's a woman, what's she doing in men's
no,
football? It
no,
ends up becoming.
I get where you're coming from, but I'm saying, if you've noticed, in other countries, most of the coaches who coach my women's team, they usually come from within, whether it's a man or a lady, they usually come from within the structures, the women's football. Because for me, they've got their special challenges that they have,
Touch, yeah.
down to CISPA. The game is
Yeah.
different, if we are to be honest.
Yeah, in terms of intensity, language, and all
Intensity,
of that.
language, yes. In
I,
terms of
I
how
do
we play.
I do understand that, but as well, if you look at our women's football, the structures that um they're not that vast. We don't have quite a vast wide array of coaches to choose from with
Yeah,
the relevant qualifications. Most of them are legends. I know quite a few people who could have gotten a shout, but at the same time, what I would say is let's give them a shot. Let's see, because
okay.
I'm a big fan of analyzing after performance. Now
Yeah,
they've done what they've done. We don't even know what the process was in terms the recruitment process was. There hasn't been much in terms of transparency in terms of that. So we don't know even who the potential candidates were,
yeah,
which makes our job very difficult. But what I would say is, I mean, let's give him a shot. And then there was this other thing that I wanted to ask. I mean, I appreciate that Tekshua Aiswa as an assistant, because he has knowledge on the local game. I know
yeah.
that Zimbabwean touched it, but we saw when you went when he came to the UK with the national team, how his boys suffered, Caps United. Do you think inyaya yekuti macontract mari yacho haikwani kuti munhu aite assistant coach chete, or it's just one. People should just get. It's normal for coaches to get to do double duty, and
Mm,
also teach Taura in terms of conflict of interest, potential conflict of interest.
I, I think it's jobs for boys. That's the honest answer that I can give. I think it's jobs for boys. Um, Probably the guy is afraid if he leaves Caps United, to regular income yake and goes to as the same national team coach, assistant coach full time, then probably not as much job security as he has school Caps United. So probably he wants to maintain both eggs in one basket,
Okay,
but
but
yeah, it
but
doesn't
what
work.
does what I mean, I've in other countries, if you're, if you're in the technical team for the national team and the technical team for the national team, I don't know the financial ramifications of it, but I would argue, Kuti, it's potential conflict of interest already. We're
It's
human beings. We have
a,
our own bias. Saka, ndiye ndine mfano wandiri kuda kuti apinde muteam. Don't you think kuti if you're coaching at the same time futi uri involved in the selection process for the national team, you're a bit
conflicted.
you're a bit conflicted. Saka,
It,
I'm not too sure about that.
it
I'm
can
not too sure.
it
You could
can
have
bring
taken
questions,
someone. Yes.
because you remember, I don't know if you remember Ishmael Wadi.
Yeah.
Ishmael Wadi, every tournament, from qualification, you will never see Ishmael Wadi. But you will see Ishmael Wadi who go AFCON, and somehow his coach is also the assistant coach with the main
Yeah,
national team. So you start,
zvinonetsa.
yeah,
That's why ndataura nyaya yecontinuity. The boys who are with us, I'm all for kuti vamwe vanhu vanoperforma towards a tournament yakusvika. But let's have continuity in national team.
yeah,
And let's, meritocracy should go above everything. Zvekuti wakambodi, matakadya nyara dzemwana.
yeah,
Kuti uri mufana wakocha hazvitambi bhora.
exactly.
So even the British Brigade, these players will be coming from abroad. Them playing abroad does not necessarily mean Guti they get into the first team. No, they need to prove themselves because most, some of them don't play regular first team football. But I don't know what it is with with us as Zimbabweans. Icho tikuda vekuchando. But as Vishandi, look at Nigeria. Look at
Yeah.
Nigeria. It's London Boys FC, but performance-wise, it's been rubbish. They didn't qualify for the World Cup.
Yeah.
Why? Because they don't have that sense of nationalism. So the
But
technical team that comes in,
is it, yeah, I think we're gonna have a fight there.
it's okay. It's okay.
Um, okay, Nigeria, they definitely have for me, they have the best squad in Africa. If we are going to look at names and,
Player for
the
player,
depth
yeah.
and even the depth, Nigeria can select 4, 5 teams of European-based players who are playing top flight leagues or the big leagues like Championship and it. But Nigeria is just not organized. Their FA is not organized. Nigeria, every game, every tournament, they have issues. Remember
Stories.
what was saying. My issues, my plane tickets, my issues, my hotels, my issues, my bonuses, my chichi. It just
Mvura,
put
kusvika
a
pasina
basic.
mvura pahotel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't train. My training facilities, they are not organized.
Gravel.
Exactly. So I wouldn't
I mean,
blame the players,
I mean, I
Nigeria.
do, I do get you, but if you
Then
remember,
let, let me
Cote d'Ivoire, yeah.
uh, let me land. So
Okay.
then coming back to Zimbabwe, um, Unfortunately, I don't want to repeat. I don't want to repeat what we normally say, but I will just say it. Fortunately, our league, um, Nice came, and the very first thing that he said when he saw on our local league, said it's very slow, very old. Arinika, the very first thing he said when he saw our league, said your league is very slow, not intense. You've got very talented technical players, but very slow, not intense. And it's why? It's got old players. Even got the Benzes. I didn't want to say it, but we've got them there. So, so we have very talented players playing more local league mates. But if we are, maybe I'll get this question back to you. If you've got a Tawanda Chilewa who's training every week in a championship team, which is one of the top 10 leagues according to Opta, he's training then he plays probably my 20 or 15 minutes, and then he plays probably my Carabao or 4 games. He's playing those. For me, I believe the intensity that he gets in those games is better than a player who's playing 90 minutes every week who local league. And
I mean,
coincidentally, um, so that I finish. Coincidentally, if you look at performance now, guys, Atawanda Chirewa, my Warriors, every 20 minutes, no pin that Atawanda Chirewa, there is a goal contribution. If we put this, the very best player, Navaya, who's been the top goal scorer in the PSL, he gets in there, he looks lost. So that's where, yeah, I don't know. Let's debate
I
on it.
think I think you make a valid point. I can't fault that, but sometimes I also like that you use Tawanda Chirewa. Sometimes I feel as if he's playing mostly for himself and not for the team. You know, whenever he comes in, he wants to play, but he's playing for himself. You know, he's not the most. He's a number 10, but he doesn't pass the ball as much as he should. Hmm? Hayi makenda kuti ana senior goal club football guys. Come on, Jets. It doesn't ever go. It doesn't ever go in senior football. No. Come on, boys. But what I'm saying is, yeah. What I'm saying is, you know, we've had Cote d'Ivoire, war-torn Cote d'Ivoire perform. They mixture ema local, lema players that are abroad. Perform, go to a World Cup. I'm saying this to say that you need a group of players who are willing to fight for the nation, not to fight for Zifa,
But who are
but to
the
fight
star
for the
players
nation.
for Cote d'Ivoire?
Yes, it was Drogba and them, but
Where was he
whenever
born?
Drogba played, Drogba moved to Item when he was 21, I think, 18 or 21 to
He was
start
born in
to
France.
France. Yeah, but he
He was
moved
born.
there to start.
Okay.
He moved there to study, right? And then he played football. But he loved his country. You see, that's what we want to see. In terms, not you see. I remember last time we were discussing with some players don't want to come to camp because their friends are not being selected. Let's discard such players. We need people who want to play for the national team. Do you see how Italy? I know they've been poor. Do you see how they look whenever the national anthem is played? Argentina. These men are willing to die for their country. And
But
the last
how have you
AFCON,
come to the
let me land.
conclusion? Yeah.
In the last AFCON,
Mm.
we should have and would have gotten to that group if we had a group of players who wanted the team to win. But most of them, if you see the missed chances against Angola, people being selfish, selfishness. Even kuti vamanobirana ma-passport, selfishness. That's what I don't like. Whether you play locally or you play internationally. What I'm saying is we need a group of I say holiday to come and play for the national team. You're not on holiday. And
But,
if you come, you must perform. Also pass the ball. Atiskuti is a fantastic player and he contributes, but there's always room for improvement. Is what I'm saying.
yeah,
I'm not
I
saying
agree.
I'm not saying he's a rubbish player, not
Mm,
by any stretch of the imagination. Like I even heard people saying Mali Towers should play as number one, goalkeeper number one. But it doesn't start for Brentford B. You want him to come and be number one for national team go AFCON. Make it make sense. He should come and play from under 23. Now that Kwanem under 23. And then Tona from there. You can't take my big team players. Yes, they play in Europe. Some of them play Anengatamba maybe 400 minutes all season. And you want to come, when they come here, you want to treat them like they are celebrities. No. They should
but
end
they
their
were playing
stripes.
better than, than our big man there.
Ukona foot another challenge. We have two groups. Our very local there. There's this school of thought our local, they're nonsense. And then and I feel like that causes a divide. Will never qualify for a major tournament because Chero Mageto Youth and Penga. And those guys,
Unbelievable.
they'll be looking, those guys also be looking down on these guys. You see? So it's up to this national team coach, Kuti Aitese Agadzerezun. If you look at South Africa under Bruce, it was mostly Sundowns and Pirates. But when they were playing, you couldn't tell would these players play for rival teams. So we need to build strong teams. We don't need names who are bigger than the team. Hakuna Messi for Zimbabwe. We don't have a Lionel Messi. So it's up to even us as people who discuss football to talk about Zimbabwe holistically and not say kuti vanotamba chikunge chikweshe AstroTurf vanotamba kuEurope saka these ones are better. We should create a system whereby these players can play well together. Like you said, they are talented but they are slow. Now it's up to the people running our football to look at leagues which are faster and whatnot and see ways in which you can improve our football, because hazvisipo kuramba tichiti we are behind my local players, because local players play a huge role. Look at Ghana in the World Cup. Their keeper, the local player, plays for, you could tell this guy, Aroma Grapes hysteric, but he performed. He performed. He performed.
A keeper, he's
regardless.
just a
keeper. But he performed regardless. Saka, we need to create a strong team in a sense of unity, and that starts from under 15 level. I'll give you an example of that Spain team. Most of them played together from underage up to now, and they've won at every level. They've won major tournaments. So it's up to us, Kuti. When we discuss football, we make sure, Kuti, we don't look down on even players who play in the local league, because that's all they know. Unfortunately, it's not their fault, because Navaya is scoring. What more do you want him to do? If he's scoring, he has to get into the national team. Otherwise,
that one, he got the chance to go to South Africa and he chose money.
I mean, Ibasaka, football is a job and it's a very short career, unfortunately. And like, I like to quote what was his name? That guy who once came to Man United on loan, the Nigerian, Odion Igalo.
No, Odion Igalo.
And he said, trophies won't buy you bread in the market. So, and like you're saying, they play local. Obvious, Marinenge, who can more money, some people like that. Obviously, for his development, it's not that great, but he's also, he's not on the younger side of things. But if he's performing, I mean, let's select, if we can select Chakuchichi, why can't we select top goal scorer? Mudik. And he was player. I saw footy. He was player of the month footy Premier League this month.
Well,
so
he bangs them.
I expect to see him in the Warriors squad for the AFCON qualifiers, because he's been playing well.
Yeah, he does bang them. Yeah, he scores a lot. Anyway, before we go to the very much the senior team, so they appointed this lady, Stella Gotal, is She's a Croatian. She's been the coach of Gibraltar
Mm.
usually, and then was she was in other teams before she went to Gibraltar. She's got the UEFA Pro license and all. Um, I'm 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 happy that we have removed 2015. I think we had tried there for a long time, and I just don't think she's been exposed enough to proper football structure for her to be able to impact anything to the ball to the girls. So I hope this new one works, and for the ladies who always go back to the structures. If you see the type of pitches that the Zimbabwe
Hey.
Premier Soccer League women are playing, uh,
Having player welfare, it's not great.
it's not great.
It's not great. Maybe
So I
barring Scotland.
yeah, I don't know. Do you think she will be able to get anything out from Lombo, straight and put from Lombo?
Yeah, she has a very difficult task in her hands. She has a very difficult task in her hands. And what I've noticed from these selections, they've gone for people who also want to make a name for themselves. It's people who
Mm,
don't have a huge name. So I think the people that have been selected, they have a chip on their shoulders because they have something to prove. And
mm,
for the men's coach, I think this might be one of his last chances if he wants to prove that he's a top coach. So you have to
yeah,
come to the party. For the women's one, it's very difficult because the problems, like you said, they're structural. A coach can only do so much.
mm.
You know what they say, Kuti, any fool can be president, but it's the people running behind the scenes who are most important. So it's a tough one. I'll give her the benefit of the doubt, but obviously Zifa needs to support her.
But
Um,
Shunguruta Stella, in terms of Zimbabwe, when I look at the pitches that these women, and then the Division One, the guys, Tawanutambira, hatichagona kudiridza uswa here, like basics, tisatenda kuita any pitches tiri complicated and what. I think what Milton and it.
uh,
Parungorafia pane mapitches euswa aya.
mm,
Hazviri kudiridzwa here? Kungodiridza chete.
Kana negligence. Vanoti mvura inonetsa, but it's negligence. It's negligence.
We've got my
Our
ball.
game. You see, that's why even you see some parents end up telling their kids kuti enda unoverenga mabhuku zvebhora hazvina basa. Why?
Mm.
Because you can tell kuti hapana zvinobuda kana uchitamba kugravel at 25 26 years old uchiti
Yeah,
kutamba T1.
yeah.
You see,
What do you expect?
and my basics is like kudiridza. I know kuti mvura inonetsa, but there should be investments. Even my
My
teams, it's up
ball.
to even my teams
Mm.
achera maball.
Mm.
But like it's it's everyone's responsibility to grow the game. You can't expect Zifa to do everything.
Everything.
Azibudi, guys. It's not possible. Saka, we really need to come to a point whereby everyone chips in. My teams, ngasangoita team for the sake of kuti chinhu
Do
changu.
you think
Ngatidiridze maground,
do you think
ngatigadzire
Munasata register a
nema
club
city
for
council as
Division
well.
One? Yeah, City Council and what? Do you think Munasata register a club for Division One? Just like we say in our sponsorship yako. Munhu anofanira kuuya neproof yekuti at least I can maintain a grass pitch. Chete.
Eh, I feel like Zifa ipapo ne PSL should be very strict. Can maintain a grass pitch. I can meet my fixtures. I
Yeah.
can compete financially. I'm a proof ekuti we can compete financially. Chi. All of that needs to be done. Also they should appeal because what always pains me with Zim is ukaenda kunoona St. George's cricket or rugby uku kuma private schools when they play even hockey
Yeah.
well sponsored. Falcon College inenge ine more sponsors than Islanders. So it's a thing yekuti obviously they have money economically variable, but the matter of kuti, why can't we penetrate the private sector as football? Why football reducing our penetrate the private sector?
Yeah, it's a big question because if you've seen, there's that social league, Yema Artists. I don't know if you know of it.
Yes, I've seen Notamba PE, yeah.
It's very well sponsored. They, one thing is, Marigalia, they sell merch a lot. I think you've seen,
They sell
Mateza
much more than in my
Winfrey,
big team.
Vigilant
Yeah.
FC.
They
Exactly.
sell
They sell
much
more
more than in my
jerseys
big
than
team.
but
In Osones.
Every team in Osonia.
It's ridiculous, man. It's it's not saying, but it's frustrating. It's very frustrating. But if you look at if you look at Jezero Nopekwa Islanders, you can see something is wrong.
So narrow.
There was a time Pavaka order my t-shirt Adidas. I think it was 2 seasons ago. And then fans were clamoring, how far, where can we where can we get the jerseys? They're like, we only ordered enough for the players. I'm like, what are we doing? Then my face said, ovatanga kusona kutengesa kuita mari. So apana, vanhu vacho havana kungwara, they are not very smart. That is the truth. How can you order jerseys? Apa it was Adidas, those Adidas Sakunda ones, they're very nice, the women the way ones. But kwankwa wodwa ekutamba chete. So that should tell you a lot about the leadership
Yeah, it
there.
says a lot about the leadership.
It says a lot. It says a lot. I love Highlanders to death, but Unzima, it's tough. Because vanosonesa, it's the truth. Vanosonesa.
One. No, Tsaga Adidas fight. You won't fight again.
But anyway, moving forward, there's a new darling in town, in Harare. Scotland Loni Nathan Mutasa is
what new darling? The new Mighty Warriors coach is causing waves as well.
yes.
He's been causing waves. The men of Zimbabwe may just do a job. Guys, I hope she's not taken.
I foresee Mamecha achitozara mayouth achiuya kuzona coach.
Zona coach. Yeah, men of Zimbabwe, I know you won't disappoint. Let's go and see the women's team. And you also
support
get
the
to
Mighty
see
Warriors.
our new blonde coach.
But hopefully, avazomtsome kuma-DMs vozotinyadzisa. But I think this coach is one who want to prove a point. So let's give them a try. We'll see in my first games, but I think for an international coach, kind of 5, 6, 7 games more now. Taufa.
Yeah.
After one game, coaching that doesn't.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Because
we'll go into your darling later, and it.
It's not mine. It's Zimbabwe.
I'm just going to so going to the under 20 men, we've got Kaitano Tembo, who's been put as the head coach, and then Marc Makanza. What I've heard from people is that Kaitano is very good with young players, and some of the guys who are now in the Bafana Bafana who qualified to the World Cup, they are products of Kaitano when he was at Super Sport. And so I hope it's true. Then Marc Makanza has been coaching junior football to Germany. So I hope he also comes in with something. George Mbwando has been put as assistant coach under 17 under Tafadzo Mashiri. For me, George Mbwando with his Germany experience as well. I know you think we've got a European bias. I thought he would be the head coach, but I don't know. I don't know if it was an appointment to silence us or what.
No, I think it's because of where he's based
Okay.
full time. You know, if he's a head coach and he's based in Germany, my under 17, Haris Bora no Budapa TV. Udamun on the ground. That's probably why the head coach is on the ground. And then here you'll probably be responsible for headhunting the side. That's just what I think. Could head coach my juniors should be based in Zimbabwe.
Okay.
Achiswera
But
background.
if you're now
And
employed,
then
you go back.
ndosaka challenge yatiutaura kuti hatizivi macontract acho
Oh, kuti
takamira sei.
zvakamira sei. Okay.
You know, because it's junior football and Zifa has been known not to pay mari even for senior. Mari yakawanda. Saka, you know, hatisi
You
kuziva.
wouldn't
My
just move
thinking,
him from his base.
exactly. So I'm thinking here you'll be responsible for obviously recruitment from, you
Diaspora.
know, diaspora, and then Tafazo will be responsible for, you know, the Zim side. If you look at how this has been structured, in my opinion, they want to blend, you know, local and diaspora. If you look
Okay.
at how it is, Kaitano is well versed in Zim SA football. You know, he's
Yeah.
a very great CV, and I foresee an under 20 team that will be performing at a very high level because
Yeah.
even the super sport team that he won the MTN8 with, it
Yeah.
was a very young team, and after that they rated all his players.
Yeah, they were
And
rated.
Sundowns and Pirates, they rated all his players. So there's someone who knows what he's doing. Um, I would have thought they would put him maybe under 23 because of, you know, I think he has a better CV even than the coach
And Marc
that
Sanchez. Yeah.
than the
I'll,
national
I'll,
team. No, than even the main
even
national team coach.
the
He has a
yeah.
better CV than him. But, you know, Zifa is Zifa. Because if we go, you know, head coach, major honors, that guy cannot touch Kaitano Tembo.
Yeah, of course.
So I think it's just a matter of mixing and matching. But Kaitano, I think under 20 is for someone who is coached in the Betway Premier League. I think it's a bit of a disservice to him.
Yeah.
In my honest
But
opinion,
for me, I think
I
it's
don't
good.
it's good in terms of bringing us, you know, a top junior team. But I would have
Yes.
liked to see him, you know, in the thick of things. But it's good to have also a seasoned coach working with the
Yeah.
juniors because he knows what it takes to get to the next level.
Yeah.
Hopefully, he's next in line to coach the senior team permanently. Varikuda kuti abikike, maybe
That'd
that's
be
the
good.
idea.
And maybe grow the youngsters from there, then do
And
this
then
pain
when
of taking them
exactly,
from down to yeah. The under 15 coach, Blackfoot Chivenga, is infamous apparently. Um,
oh,
he's been in and
I've
around
never
the
heard of
under.
him.
Yeah, he's infamous. He's been in and around the under 17s and the under 15s. Uh, yeah, I don't want to defame him, but he's sort of involved in some academies and GT. So there's
Mm.
been accusations in the past of him being some of the conduits here afana academy kwawanenge relate nako too. So don't know. I
Yeah, I
hope
mean,
it's
when you talk of junior football, I have a very sad story to share. I remember it was 2013. We were selected at the time. We
mm.
went. It was for that VW thing that was held in Germany.
Oh
So we went for trials. As soon as we got there, we were just asked. We were told when udlalela iphi team udlala iphi team. We will not time right team. We will not time right team. We will not time right team. And then for guys who were not playing for your Highlanders, your Bantu Rovers at the time,
yeah.
would not because it was an under 14 thing. We were made to play 3-minute games just
Okay.
for pictures to be taken. Kuti kwaitwa matrials. There were even some people were selected did not even attend the trials. Team yanga yatoselectwa. So it was, you know, I don't want to mention names, but it's people who are now, you know, well respected. We're running that show. And Team yanga yatoselectwa before we even did the trials. I mean, we cried. I think that was probably the time when most people that I know who who then probably gave up on football.
They
So
quit
hopefully
football.
we have someone who does not do that.
Mhm.
Like I said, my aesthetics, Kuti, it's all for aesthetics. Because we went there fully prepared, told to trialing national team, what. Everyone's excited. You get there, you play 2 minutes. We started at
Yeah.
9. By half 9, everything was done.
I know you don't want to name names, but I would have wanted to know those.
No, I will leave it for another day. Not saying, we were world beaters at football, but, we would have loved
But get
to
a
have an
chance,
opportunity
honestly.
because we had been selected to go there. So if you
Mm.
go to trials and at 13, you're 14, you're still a kid and your emotional maturity is very low at that time. Because most of us cried, me included, because it was a
Yeah.
very painful experience. It was more
Mhm.
than, I think it was 13 years ago, but I still
Yeah.
remember that day vividly. So hopefully he's not that kind of person. Otherwise, apana kwatetichienda.
Yeah, that's my
Always,
fear.
like we're saying, we need to start at junior level. If it's corrupted, junior level, apana kwatikuenda,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Then, so for the under 23s, they then, what they did was, Roman Catala is the senior national team coach. Then he came with, Marc Sanchez. Then he came with, Esquerdo as well. Vicente Girona Esquerdo. We're gonna be speaking of Vamos very soon.
Nathan Mjasa anopinda team. He went to an academy in Spain, so
Yeah. So Marc Sanchez, probably is the first assistant, where Roman Catala then appointed as the under 23s, coach. So in looking at the profile, yeah, Marc Sanchez, Wacho, um, his main achievement has been probably coaching, Rio Mallorca. He started coaching my under 15. He coached my under 17. Then he coached the B team, for Rio Mallorca,
that's
for
not
about
bad.
5 years. Yeah. He's had, other academy stints, states, and as well as,
Atina Marian,
uh, in the,
Atina Marian
in the,
to hire like coaches with strong CVs. Atina Mar, is that the
yeah, yeah.
case? Or we are not as attractive? We're not an attractive country to work for, given our history with coaches.
In their defense, uh, Ana Rio Mallorca B, if you
Mm.
remember, the recent Real Madrid coach, Alvaro Abiola, he was
I coach
coaching
at
B
Real
team.
Madrid Castilla,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
The
Pep
Castilla,
Guardiola came from Castilla.
the
The
B
coach who
team.
replaced, Pep Guardiola, he also came from
I'm
B
from La
team.
Masia, yeah.
Luis
And
Enrique
Luis Enrique, yeah.
came from. So I think maybe that could be a justification because he coached. He was
B
in the
team.
setup here. So,
Now
so he's been given the under 23. Then they appointed the former technical director with FIFA, Wilson Tekede. I think he was coaching in the local Premier League, uh, at the moment as well, as the assistant to him. So maybe as someone who also has a background of technical development, that's why they've put him there. So do you
I
have
would,
confidence with
I would like
with
to
that?
see my performance contracts. Are
Yeah.
these contracts performance based? Tukuyenda ere kuma-Olympics nema-under 23, because that should be the goal. Zitofana
Okay.
noenda ma-Olympics. But I like the mixture of, if it's an international coach, more mix. Hapana kuti pakazara the international people or pakazara. It's just a nice blend. So I think
Yeah.
Zifa did a really good job in terms of having that mix, because it gives Unzal that sense of neutrality whenever
Yeah.
the team is selected. Hopefully, Wanaya, we have always been, accused of won't interfere as much, because we know they will, but hopefully their influence
Yeah.
will be limited by this selection criteria. So all in all, I have faith in Zifa. I'll probably
You now
just
have
give
faith
them the
in them.
benefit. No, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt because I have not. We will be able to judge after a few games, and
Yeah,
also the selection. And what I would like to know is quite a selection criteria for players. Is it form? Is it legacy? Is it good to top in the same church? You know, we want it to be clear, Kuti, what's the selection criteria? You
yeah,
know, and that would inform performance because Tukuzawati you are selected because you're performing wherever you are. But we cannot select munhu ane vanhu vasingatambi
yeah,
kuti vauye voita mastart ahead of people who play week in week out. Because training is good, but game match fitness is very important. You saw
yeah,
Marvelous Nakamba; he wasn't playing that many games because unfortunately, been going through a rough time with injuries, and it showed.
yeah. It showed.
So hopefully he gets. I've heard people saying Awacha team, but if he's still hanging around in Europe, there's definitely still
No,
something there.
there's something there. Yeah, definitely there's
There's
something
always
there.
been something there. That's an outstanding player. You don't play for
Yeah.
Aston Villa.
No,
Just
no,
just come on. You
no.
don't. It doesn't happen.
Mm.
So even though
There's
I also
scientific
like him.
methods.
I also like him because he once cost Liverpool the league. But that's a story for another day.
Kusaka magic you are.
Natotanga kurekodha here.
So, Dave Oliver. So moving to the senior national team now. So they appointed Roman Catala as the Zim national team coach. So history of Catala from 1990 up to around 2007, he was involved in an RC Ceuta, the Ceuta Vigo, Osasuna, na Salamanca, Rio Zaragoza, Espanyol, Espanyol mostly, and up to around 2019, he's been involved in my technical teams, mainly as a fitness and conditioning coach. That's up to around 2019.
Yeah.
Then from 2019 up to around 2021, he then moved to Dynamo Kiev. He was the under 19 manager there. Then from 2021 up to 2023, he was the technical director of Libya. Then from 2025 to 2026, he was in Qatar as an assistant manager at outside Leah. I've also noted
What level
Kuligla.
was that?
It's the Pro League of Qatar, the Qatar Pro League.
Or not the Stars League? So it's
I think it's their Premier League of Qatar. Yeah, the
okay.
Qatar Stars League.
Okay.
That's the first. Let me see the players who played it outside here. If you can see anyone who we recognize. No, don't recognize many of them.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I like.
Mikel Antonio is gone to Qatar.
Yeah. I know.
Okay, that's the team. Yeah, that's the team. Yeah, Mikel Antonio. He did coach 2 games for Libya. He won 1, he lost 1. So,
Honestly,
so what do you think, guys? What do you think about the pedigree of the coach? What are the positives?
honestly,
What are the negatives?
OJ.
Kama Mr. Wembo wambo
Hi, how are you? I'm listening. I'm just sitting up, so you can go ahead and I'm
Okay,
sitting,
go ahead,
sitting
please.
up.
I think he is a great. Firstly, I think he is a great agent because how do you get a national team gig with that CV? He is a fantastic agent. You should really thank his agent. Secondly, honestly, he's for the best part, he's been a fitness trainer. There's really not much to talk about in terms of his coaching pedigree. We just need to just wait and see, because there's not, like, from the information you've given me, there's nothing. I can't mention any advantage. Maybe the boys will be fitter. The boys will be fitter.
But yeah, but
But he has the qualifications. So what I'll do is I'll just give him the benefit of the doubt. And like I said earlier, that all these coaches don't seem to have super impressive CVs, so they have something to prove. So they'll obviously bring their A game, because he's been in football since 1990, and he's only coached 2 international games. So that should tell you a lot. So it's probably his last chance to make a name for himself in international football. So I would say let's give him a shot. Tina Mari futhi yekubhadhara top coaches anyway.
Yeah. What do you say, Olive? Are you still setting up?
Yeah, no. I'm here. I'm here. One question that one has to ask is, his English is not that the best. Not to say English is the only language that can be used, but one has to ask, how did he get that job? When we have an executive that doesn't speak Spanish, how was he interviewed to get that position? He could
He's a
not.
fantastic agent.
Yeah, he could hardly speak one or two statements of Spanish, but all the same, we have Lincoln Mutasa, we have got Mutasa who speaks Spanish, we have got Mauchi who speaks Spanish, we have got this other guy who speaks
Abubakar
Spanish.
Mofa.
So how is he going to coach? Yeah, how is he going to coach a team when he needs a translator on other things? Are we going to be using sign language? What
He
Zifa
does.
did.
He did speak a few sentences of English. It's just that he is not confident on camera.
He's been in football for how many years, boys?
Where
In non-English
No,
speaking setups.
which ones?
Huh?
We
Spain.
don't know the reasons. We don't know the reasons. Anyway, for starters, I think I was very angry with Zifa, and I still ask the question, but why did Zifa let the Kosafa guys go and then appoint a Zifa under-20 coach days after they had actually
Yeah.
missed an opportunity where they were going to do that? It defies logic that you don't enter into a tournament 3 days or 4 days or 5 days after not entering into a tournament that was going to tell us the strength of the youth that we have in terms of development. Then you bring in a coach. How are you going to measure that coach? And yet this was a very good opportunity for them. They didn't need to be part of that. They needed to just register that they are there. And then they bring in a coach. And that was going to be a very good starting point for the coaches that will be coming in to see how best do they go about that. So how do you develop a system when you let an opportunity of that caliber go? That's my first thing. The second thing is the appointment that has actually happened with Zifa. It looks like it's a hurried thing in response to our discussions that we hear or that we do here and other things, to say we don't have a philosophy. Yes, we don't have a philosophy, but now it's very difficult. You know what? They've, instead of kusakurira what is available, they've actually uprooted the tree and now plant another one.
Hansi Chatamba Baka one.
No, but Baka, do you know, if you were to look back into Spain, how many years it took them to win the World Cup? It was only up to 2010 when Tiki Taka was just coming in. And from 2010, it took them another 16 years to win another tournament. So it's a long shot, unless Magwizi is telling us that he'll still be there for those 16 years when we have such things. Because yes, in terms of development, he has done a very good thing. For the first time, we can just say the idea of appointing coaches right from the women's up to where he is, it's actually a very good thing. But I think this coach was going to be a very good coach if he had actually come in from the juniors and then continuing on like that. But to come in and throw him on in an institution that means results, I think we are we're setting him up for failure. Then the third thing is with the number of coaches that were given, I would like to borrow what Princess said. The agent might actually have done a very good thing, because we can't continue to be hiring mediocres. Baba, 3 pairs of Tommy shoes will not equal to 1 shoe of Wayne Brenner. So Isusu will manage to get a coach and a bonus, a coach and an assistant, all at what price?
But were we not encouraging FIFA to no longer want you to impose assistance on the coach? Let the coach come in with his own team.
Which is very true, Baba. But you don't buy Sandak, Nematomi, and then you say we have shoes.
I think, Oliver, to borrow what you said, Bagut, we've uprooted. If you look at, from pre-AFCON, or AFCON rather, I'll start at AFCON. We didn't have a horrible AFCON.
Mm-hmm.
We saw glimpses of what can be in that game against Egypt, in that game against Angola, in the game against South Africa before someone decided to be a goalkeeper. We saw, we saw glimpses of performance, and we went to that Zambia when we ended up playing Zambia under 20, and we won that tournament, right? We came here, we played India. I thought maybe it was a cricket match at first, but we played India in a soccer match. And then afterwards, tukaona utanima player akadai. Do you think this coach who has 2 games experience as an international coach can come and continue from that? Because he's only coached 2 games international. He's only coached 2 games, actually. If you check his CV, he's only coached 2 games, and he's been hired to take over and take us to the World Cup. Do you think it's a good appointment?
Yeah, we remain a springboard for people to come in and propel themselves somewhere. If you look at the coaches that we have had over the past 2, if not, in fact, it's 2 years, we have actually changed coaches 4 times. Have you noticed? We've had
Marinika,
Kaitano, and this one.
This one, yeah, 4.
Mm-hmm. So
Magwizi, 3 or 4 years, he had what?
Magwizi's term has had 4 coaches in less than 2 years.
So, a 4 years contract.
Yeah. So the same could have actually happened. Remember what we said last time. What he has done, of course, is a semblance of thinking a little bit, but probably, a borrowed idea, you end up wakutongo ita in another way. It's more or less like chibage chekupedzisira. When May's Cup is about to kupera, chinoisa mwana pamuchekechera chaipo just thinking good ndopachiri, and yet it's not the right thing. He had actually done a very good thing of thinking philosophy, thinking long term, but the implementation of how he took it, probably it's something that we tend to question. But still, we're still to be proved, is he a good one or not, because we'll never know until he plays.
Yeah.
And the worse off now is going to be very difficult, given the fact that if it's true that National Sports Stadium has been approved, then the first game against DRC has to be...
But it's a strong DRC side, huh? It just came off a successful World Cup.
Not a pushover, Baba.
They played extremely well in the World Cup, so I think a coach has a big task on his head. He has a big task on his head. He has a month. Is it a month? He has a month to prepare. He has a month to prepare for Congo, and Congo it's a very strong side.
Yeah, it's a baptism of fire.
Do you know what, Ojena Prince? A few hours before naming the coaches, we had a CAF A license workshop that was going on. And people are actually up and about saying Zifa is actually managed to do a very good thing, which in all fairness, they managed to do that. But a few hours later, you hire a coach who does not have a CAF A license to come and coach a CAF nation, somebody who's got a UEFA A. What are we saying?
UEFA. CAF.
You know, I think we are late.
What are we saying?
Ndambotaura point you.
Yeah.
Ndambotaura point you. I always talk about, you know, that ameno kana, if it's, you know, because we're black and we don't have much confidence in our things, we still have that colonial mindset. Ekuti everything that is white or everything that is European is perfect.
That was
And
with less melanin.
you see, yes, less melanin equals, you know, more power. And it's quite sad because this guy, I was even talking about Kaitano. Kaitano is a stronger CV than that guy who's been appointed. But Kaitano has been sent to the under 20s. So,
not the under 23.
Under 20s. But he's someone who has won trophies, a trophy in a top 3 league in Africa. He's won a trophy there. So, and you're saying, and you bring him in and you say, no, you are not good enough. Let's have a fitness guru here come in and let's coach 2 games, come in and coach you, Unenge Uchimpa, my player from under 20. It just says a lot. It says a lot about our thinking. And another thing that you said, Oliver, Ekuti, that thing, Ekuti, they didn't send the under 20s. These guys, they like to focus on aesthetics. They like to look good. If you see how these things were structured, they didn't. Vana havana kuendeswa kosafa zvikanzi tiri kuplana ka. You are promising mabviravira. Days later, that calf workshop, and then days later, my coaching staff. Zifa. A day later, the national sports year Vumiro. How does Zifa look? We look great. We look good. So it's like carrot and stick. Kuti vanenge vachida kuti create a terrible situation so that they come up looking like victors. Because what was the excuse yekuti vana can't go kosafa is ridiculous. Hakuna muda restructure chi. Hakuna ma junior league. Hakuna Coca-Cola 20. Coca-Cola.
Logic.
It doesn't make sense.
It defies logic. Remember, they signed an MOU with Ministry of Health. We need Ministry of Education to have soccer being played throughout the year. And who is playing in the NASH competitions? My under 17s. My under 17s, everybody look in Chatambra, my under 20. We have Chaku Chichi, whom they said is a prodigy, who's 16. And that was an opportunity. We have Mutunzi, who is actually played Kuno better off. We've got Wafana Wakawanda. So it's a generation that they've missed.
Exactly. You know? And even then, for the kids, Zimbabwe, you know, that's how you get scouted. And Osimhen, they were scouted from these junior tournaments. You know, it's a potentially life-changing thing for these kids.
True. So, you know, the success of this guy is going to be, it will hinge on basically 5 things that I can actually highlight. The first one is, you know, as fans, we've got our expectations and things that we can say, this is what we want as fans. And Team Ema fans are HGW. Worse off the opening game with DRC at home. The last time that we played DRC at home, Kama was there, and that's the game that we won, if you remember.
Yes.
Then we also have administrative issues. You know, we still have, if Zifa can actually afford to pay a coach that much, they should be able to pay for the players. I think of late, we haven't had squabbles of Zifa failing to pay, which I think is a very good thing, which kudos to the Zifa. Then we have limited resources, you know. Zifa on its own is I don't think they are financially strong, but depending on individuals and benevolence of people who want to partner them. We only have a partnership of EcoBank, and EcoBank failed to sponsor them under 20s to go to a tournament if you have got such things. Then also the player development gap. We are still banking on the old. The new that is there between the diaspora and everything, that rift needs to be covered. So, you know, I foresee our instability in our domestic league, and you know the trust that is supposed to be built. At the moment, you find we have he has got so many things to to do, because if he's not in good books with local coaches and PSO clubs, and then former Warriors players and diaspora players, I don't foresee him having something. I think Zifa did a very good thing, but still, the other thing that they missed is we need somebody, a technical person who can actually report to them about people in the diaspora.
Yeah.
I know Marshall is there, but they are not failing to give him the ambassador role of just telling them who is there. Yes, Marshall is doing a lot and is even recruiting Bakawanda, but it might need a platform where these
It
can
needs a
actually
team as well. Yeah.
Technical person there.
Yeah. So you cannot say good awe na coach na assistant, but assistant wacho hapana kwachaenda changoramba ari muZimbabwe. That on its own defies logic.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really tricky. So so he's been given a 4-year contract. For me, I've been calling with probably we need a long-term plan for any coach who's going to come in, depending on performance. And for me, I think because they've appointed these guys, probably they just have to let them do their job. Things may not work out very well in the first year. I don't expect them to, because we're going to be in a tough group for the AFCON qualifier. So we may have tough times in the very first few months. And so they've appointed those guys, one a vision, 2030 or 4 years. They just have to stick with their guys, then offer them my resources. There's what you're saying, those diaspora linkages, those linkages with the local coaches. Probably that's why Iragwe has been left in the technical structure to provide a linkage with the local coach. Because I don't think it will benefit us in any way to then start firing another coach and trying to look for another one.
Baba, what I can tell you is rebuilding a national team structure or culture does not take one day, and it should not actually start at the apex. It should start down. Because look, if Zifa was very serious in terms of changing a culture, they didn't need only to appoint somebody as the head coach from Spain. Then the assistant becomes the head coach of under 23. Then you have George Mbwando and the other guy, Kaitano, under 20. Then George Mbwando and the other one under 17. Then someone under 15. So you find, Guti, if you are building a culture, it should actually permeate through the system that you're actually building. You cannot have 23 and 24 to build a system, because this is now more technical about winning and everything. So it's going to take a long period for them to do that. But I don't know whether the public has got the heart to contain poor results. The no problem. The nation does not have a long heart to. We are not patient enough to take my defeats as a learning curve anymore. So you would find that is going to be, and public criticism is also, we will always look for good results. Even though our expectations, we know one basaka changa chingoita basarake, you know. Then the other thing is, I foresee another coaching change based on pressure and poor results. Because if you look at that group, Baba, that's the group of death that we are in. So every poor coach who has come to Zimbabwe is qualified for AFCON. So we can't have a good coach who fails to have a good coach and fails to have.
Because because AFCON is now become, we don't fail to qualify for AFCON. We don't. I wanted to ask another question, gentlemen, to the both of you. Magwizi, since he's coming, we've seen changes, like you mentioned, administratively, and now, structurally, we are seeing a bit of shape in what we are doing. they've been, obviously there've been places whereby it leaves a lot to be desired, but we've seen progress in terms of kuti hatichanzi kuti vanyimwa mapay varamba kutamba before my game because of mari mahotel varikugara mutsvina like the rugby guys. We no longer see that with Zifa. If it continues like this, they qualify for AFCON, and the under 20s under 20s won't qualify. The under 23s maybe make the Olympics. World Cup, I don't think we'll qualify for the World Cup, but say we get close to that. Would you give Magwizi another term in office, given what he's done so far?
I would say probably to answer you. I'll come to you to your question. This coach has been given one of the easiest tasks to do. It's not a result-based contract that he has.
Oh.
Remember, he's just said we are going to have another philosophy. We want to change the philosophy based on what we want. And qualifying for AFCON, it might be there, but we want to build a culture. So whether he wins or he loses, the contract has got no measurable objectives, outcomes that we can stick to. Because you heard Magwizi saying that if it's written in fine line, probably we have missed it. But to come back to your point, Magwizi is trying hard to measure on the impression that he's giving us is saying my predecessor did nothing in terms of corporate governance and everything, but he's failing to understand that soccer, even though you would blunders here and there, Infantino akaita blunders angakuda kutengesa magame, but people then acknowledge but pane zvinhu bhora racho rakatambika. You get the point. So with Magwizi now, the challenge is bhora racho harisi kutambika, but he's concentrating on administrative issues. When people are starved of any of success, the only thing that they will do is they'll forget about the administrative issues that they want. Because people, the majority of people that are out there would want to see game being played, football being played. You see, not kuti you're saying no achambo bugadzirira. No. People want football to be played. And that, I think, is going to be something else. But to say Magwizi can be given another term, the unfortunate thing is you and I, we don't vote. Those that vote are the ones that benefit. So I will not be surprised if he's given another term. And at the moment, if I was to measure him 1 out of 10, out of 10, 10 being the max, the excellent, I'll struggle to give him a 10, and I'll struggle to give him below 5. There are things that he has also done that are actually good. There are things that he still needs to do, and he still has time on his side. And the thinking behind it is actually very good. But I think there are crucial decisions that they're supposed to have made that they didn't make. One, the issue of Marinika, unexplained. Probably they don't owe us an apology, but from what he said last time, to say we should ask, we have to ask why was Marinika fired? And that becomes the basis of us improving one way or the other as we do an analysis of what we are doing. And is this the right time for us to change the philosophy? Should it not start from grassroots and appoint people going upwards? Then the other thing that the under 20 things, I think that one, I would have given him a 7, but that one takes away 2 points to bring him to 5. But I might actually then give him half of a 5 to say to go to 5.5 because serious, half a point in terms of the women's soccer. I think they've benefited significantly. The only difference is they've also recycled those that have failed.
Rosemary.
You see, that, yeah. You don't need somebody who has failed and who has failed to qualify to become an assistant when you are changing a philosophy. You remove everyone, then bring in new things because change management. You've done change management. You understand that we don't want resistance from the top because I foresee Rose clashing with that lady. I've been into this and what. And if somebody fails to succumb, because Rose also has CAF A fairly recent. So she will also be questioning what does this mean, and also influence Vana, because the people that they are going to call, the majority of them have played some in 26, is it 2016 when we qualified
Olympics.
So if 2006 when we qualified for the Olympics, some of them are still there. So you find that
Yeah, pakaipa.
I think Ipapo Magwizi needed to do their homework. They've only concentrated on the development of men. On the women's soccer, they've only concentrated on the national. They could have actually done better in that regard. But anyway, if votes were to be done today, I would painfully give him my vote.
I think so too. I think you're right.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, we've seen even Z5, even if you go to their website, it looks professional. Zvakuoneka kuti kune vanhu vanoswera kuma-office acho. And it's a plus. Like, I like how you mentioned corporate governance, because if we don't have good corporate governance, tetiri pama1 bhora yes rinotambika, but remember Zimbabwean football was essentially in the toilet. No home ground, no taisonesa makiti.
Let's still doing that.
Taisonesa makiti mamwe kwakambonzi. I remember we were supposed to play in South Africa, and then tukanzi hakuna makiti makuseni before a game. Akanotengwa makiti akanoprindiswa kumafesi avo. Kauya, it's we at least we don't see even pre-AFCON pandoitika a certain thing around that. But this year vauya kuEngland vatambawo mafriendly, vakatamba that mukuru thing. It seems like they are trying, and under the circumstances he's trying. I would give him the benefit of the doubt. But the biggest dent, like you mentioned, women's football, as well as women's football, vantu kwakanyepa zvikanzi vamwe maprofita akapa vakadzi mari, but nothing came from that. But the under 20 thing is what pained me the most. It was not a good look. I want things to be run professional. Ngatisiye zvekusonesa majezi, boys. Let's hazvisipo. But I would say it's so far, if even zvataura, the appointment coaching staff, it shows good. They are thinking with the end in mind. They're beginning with the end in mind, which is essential for success, organizational success. So I would give him a 6 so far, 6.5. He's been doing well given the circumstances and where we were. At least on a home ground. Tomboona bora ku NSS. I don't know how good the stadium is, but at least Timbotambo my home games. And for coach, Panama excuses.
Yeah, there are no more excuses. Not easy. It depends now you look at it. I'll touch on how he was elected. First of all, I think we all know that there were some forces that came in that allowed him to be elected by sort of interfering. Of course, now they are denying that they interfered in the election process and stuff. We all know from the background that there was some interference in terms of vote buying in getting him elected. Okay, so that happened. It's okay. Then he came into power. He's reintroduced things that a football association is supposed to have, like training your own coaches, something that's supposed to be there. Those FIFA courses that have come in as well. Good things in partnership with MSU. Those are very good things. A bit of corporate sponsorship with Bank ABC, EcoBank, Chichi. That MOU with the Minister of Education. Yeah, it's a good thing. I guess that's also helped by the links that he has that we would mention. So that's good. In terms of the stadium, I'm happy that we now have a stadium. I would also give him a -2 there. Why? Because he was involved with one of the companies that were involved in the construction of the stadium. and we've had the stadium delivered to us very late. We expected the stadium a few years back, but for whatever reasons, they've brought the stadium very late. We don't know the condition of the stadium, but yeah, we hope it's going to be a good thing. So on the under 20 thing, I would want to ask you a question, guys. Do you think it was just a decision that the FIFA Executive Committee was supposed to make on their own, or it was something that was supposed to be brought to other stakeholders to also give their point of view, and then a decision is made with technical input from everyone, because we're all affected, from the players, from the fans, from the media, to the association, even the other stakeholders, including COSAF, they are affected. What's it their own decision?
To quote verbatim what Magwizi said, he said leadership sometimes makes mistakes. So to me, that was acknowledging that they have already made a mistake one way or the other. Then the explanation that he was trying to give did not even justify, did not even try to explain the reasons behind under 23s, not under 20 not getting there. Because he says leadership makes mistakes. That was his first statement from what I have just what I saw. Then he went on to then explain, you understand the vision later on, and all those things were just like political rhetoric that didn't even need to be included in that discussion. But when you look back now and say, technically our football, we have 4 people, the technical director who doesn't know how to speak Shona or English, Shona, or who doesn't understand our culture. We're saying we want to move into a new dimension. We are moving in a new direction, but we have somebody whom we've employed as a technical director who is neither from Spain or from any of those countries, but is coming from another country that is below our ranking. It boggles the mind. We've got a coach who rarely speaks English, who's still not confident of speaking English. We have an assistant who comes in to translate and taking over the under 23. We've got the Croatian lady who's coaching the ladies. All in all, you find that we have 4 good people taking a chunk of money from Zifa, which is significant to at least warrant my results. So given the strength of our admin, we have limited room for failure, because all the things that needs to be done has been done. Technical directors from Burundi, right? And we expect he has been sitting doing nothing, or if he was doing something, I'm not even privy to. But at the moment, we can say it's just been raking in money. Number 2, we've got those coaches. There is a very good possibility that any disagreement will actually push us back to the issues that forced us to be suspended when people fail to pay that money. So now the wage bill raised, if in as much as they've tried to be very corporate, it goes way beyond. So now what I think Magwizi needs to work on is the issues of resource mobilization, which is not relying on funding that is coming from developmental sides, such as the under 20s, when you are not even sending them for a tournament. So the now needs to take the ZIFA to be more or less like a corporate. The issue of having a jersey that has not been branded, supported by anything, it's not there. The issue of TV rights of games being, because that's where they make the money. Yeah. And also, strengthening anything that supports football. not taking someone. Do you know we've got so many Zimbabweans who are technically gifted to be a technical director, and some can actually do it for free, you know. But when you have somebody who's getting money and then we don't see results, that is going to be a very big problem. But in terms of putting up a structure, yes, it's good that it's actually put up a structure which we think is a strong base. And I think we as the supporters and analysts, we need to sit down and reflect, what is it going to be and what can he do. But I think the biggest gain is the women's football by having a coach who is sound.
A proper coach.
But I don't know with the facilities that we have, that might actually cause a level of challenges. Yeah. I think we are going to have a situation whereby ticharambe tichingona the old vakatamba, because pane vakadzi vakatamba kuma-Olympics 2006 ka we're still playing right now.
2016, yeah, a lot of them.
2016, we're still playing now, you see. And that's 10 years after. We can say, well, yes, madzimai, but you know, Tanzania was below us when we used to play COSAF. You know, Malawi and Zambia. We matched the last game that we played. I remember it was in Rufaro. I was there. It was Cameroon versus Zimbabwe. And we matched them pound for pound. Tikavarova kuno kanwarova to Cameroon. And we qualified for the Olympics. So if that thing, the success that is happening in corporate governance, if it is translated also into the pitch, it might actually be a very wonderful thing. But if I'm to borrow the ball, you find that he has surrounded himself with technocrats, which is very good. But the only thing that I'll ask him is, let that coach be surrounded not only by my local coaches, but even those that have actually coached before, who have the same philosophy that he wants to bring in. And as a national coach, if he's bringing in a philosophy, don't bring a philosophy at the top without even teams benefiting from your knowledge. Let teams, you know, Spain is benefiting from tiki-taka because it had actually nearly 8 to 10 people away from one team. So you can't introduce that philosophy when the structures that are actually developing towards the apex are actually playing a different game. That's my thinking.
So to National Sports Stadium, it's a good thing that we are going to be playing our games at home. But there's always a concern, you know, with the National Sports Stadium. I think the last time that the stadium was active, Atlanta was playing its own games there. Dynamos was playing some of its home games there. Caps was playing some of its home games there. And I would expect Scotland, if they wanted to play its home games there. Then you had my independence activities, those heroes activities, and so do you think they should let the National Sports Stadium be reserved for international activities only? For example, if a club is playing Champions League like Scotland is doing, those are the only ones who can play there. If Zimbabwe is coming, those are the only ones who can play there, so that we can keep the condition of the pitch either right, or we can open the national sports to everyone.
Do you know, I'm tempted to, I think that would be my greatest weakness. I'm tempted to go with, Scott is from Mabvuku and I'm from Mabvuku, born and bred. You know, recently I was talking about the sponsorship that is coming. Is it Emirates?
Yeah, it's Emirates or Etihad, I don't know. Because he mentioned something about Man City.
So if it's a Etihad that is coming, that means there's something that is doing right, that is forcing him to attract investment towards Scotland. You know, yes, he might. There are no shortcuts to success. If you want success, you have to invest. I'm not contradicting myself based on what I'd said earlier on. If you want success, you have to earn it, and you have to also invest. But the investment should not actually outweigh what you want to benefit. Because if you look at if Scotland is being supported by Emirates or what,
Mm.
it then means that the Emirates on their jersey, they're getting something. Even their jersey, they are now an international brand. But we have a national institution called ZIFA that should actually also benefit from that. I think also marketing yacho zvakashitaura Prince. Marketing, if you look at, I think is it Barry or the guy
Mike
has been
Madoda.
doing that. Mike Madoda has been doing wonderful. Of late, he has just been there. But Magwizi let him not be the one at the center of that. I saw him by that inauguration. Angari Angashita, the much of the talking. Let the CIFA executive talk less and let those that are down here to propel him. Because when you are attacked by people, it becomes very difficult. You lose your trust. Let people, the communications department is there to communicate such things. And you're just there to endorse. That's the collective that is needed. Speak when you're supposed to speak. And let others make mistakes. Then you can actually blame them. And then for the good of the organization, that can actually go a long way. We have team manager. I don't know who's now the team manager that has been appointed. We used to have
Actually, I didn't check that one. Yeah, I'm not sure if they've changed anything. We had Matao and Ezrom Yandoro was the latest one, I think. So I don't know if they've made any changes.
Yeah. But I think in terms of like what Princess highlighted, I would vote for him, but with some things that I think would, as he's going, he might actually take on board. At the moment, yes, I'll definitely give him a very good yes.
Yeah.
With some observations. But
Perfect.
coming back to the league, you actually notice that even our league is actually, Scotland has actually taken a step further. I don't know whether that is sustainable, of taking Brazilians to come in and play and then offload 6 players.
Yeah, it's interesting. But Mapesa seems not to be trusting the Brazilian guy. Or I don't know, maybe he's still bedding him in. He seems not to trust him. He hasn't played him much. So I guess we'll see. It's a good thing that the foreign players are coming, but I hope we have the scientific method of scouting and really analyzing the players and seeing good, is this one good for the league? Is he better than what we have? Because if we're importing, they have to be better than what we have locally. That's what I think.
Yeah. The question that you had actually raised about the National Sports Stadium being overcrowded by events, and you find that the coming in of Chawanda has actually helped. And Scott is trying to build a stadium, and which is taking slightly longer. We also had that Yada Stadium, which was supposed to be used to be finished and to be completed, so that at least we relieve pressure from the National Sports Stadium. Rufaro, as it is not a bad stadium. But
have you seen the pitch after the events last week?
And that's why I'm saying it's not a bad stadium if it's invested in. The amount of investment that you need to uplift Rufaro does not should not be equal to the rebuilding Chawanda. But given the fact that we now want to host the Africa Cup of Nations, it's something that we need to start thinking about, because there are stadiums that we know are very good, but they're just lying idle. What is needed is one of the two things. Or lessons have told us that we can start building a stadium from nothing, and by the time that by the time that the AFCON comes in, we'll have so many stadiums.
So maybe we may need to reintroduce flights to Beruga to allow Chawanda to be close to an international airport, and that's one of the major things that's stopping Chawanda from being confirmed.
Yeah, the good thing is Guerre is good. Already has an
good runway helicopter. Yeah,
already, but now they're traveling from Guerre to Kwekwe. again.
That's road. Akuskurega still. It's. I think it's the same distance that you would travel from Heathrow to the other side of London.
Yeah. I think that support is now needed because at any given time, you would also want to start bringing in things. But out of interest, I was just checking. Temba Meliswa might actually have a better CV as a fitness trainer when compared to our coach. Yes. No, Isabukutemba did that as a degree. You know, he's a fitness trainer by profession, is at degree level. So we can't discount him.
Okay.
So literally we've taken Temba Meliswa to become our coach.
Oliver. We have taken Temba Meliswa to become our coach. Why is that book no rover?
That's ridiculous. Yeah.
That's interesting. So we have a new darling, Yusma Dimbari. We have a new darling.
Oh, Mtasa.
Nathan does. Yes. He's now collecting Chegumi after every game.
Yeah. I don't know where this came from. It also boils down to what is Dimbare saying, what is Dimbare doing. Recently, I was just looking at, I was on social media checking on that supporter with Dimbare. I know it's a Berom Daroya Ruara. And it looks like he's an unsung hero. But when he's actually okay, he's one die-hard supporter.
We know him from Dara.
So, So if the organization was serious enough, they need to do something. Or probably they are doing something behind our backs. We don't even know. But not publicizing what you're doing.
No. The organization is struggling, Baba. That organization is struggling. I don't think they are doing anything. But the supporters are now...
Gege,
they went and they saw him. And which was a good thing from them.
From a human side.
Madimbare angoendawo kumari kumos neku-Scotland.
But moyo wavo uri somewhere.
But they are really by the supporters there. But the league race is now very tight. Because that drop is now big. After the draw, Dimbare then that drop won. I think if Scotland loses any game and that drop wins, then they'll be tied. So
there's still a grudge match that needs to be played. Scotland will take this thing. There's still a grudge match that needs to be played. I think Scotland might lose.
Do they still have a game at Rock near Scotland between them?
At Rock and Dimbare.
Oh yeah, that one is difficult.
So Pachatanga CAF, that's where Scotland will lose this team.
Yeah, pedigree, Amapesa, that's when we'll see it. He's been very emotional lately.
Yeah. I think we need to understand Mapesa. We need to understand Mapesa from where he's an emotional coach. He's somebody who feels we share the song totem, so I feel bad in bashing.
You're not speaking as yourself. You're speaking as an analyst.
Yeah. That that spirit of entitlement needs to go out. You can't complain of the same thing all the time. Let others speak about it and you get exonerated. Because the moment you continue to speak like what he was highlighting, could you find me? Mimi Taura was Do you know coaching when somebody has been hurt or something else? If you don't coach, it does not necessarily mean that those who are coaching are bad. You can also do the same thing, But let's not just major on minors.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I think that's where the challenge is. I think
that's not why he lost the game. He lost the game because his front was not functioning anymore.
It's true. And kama angakavarwa angakaiswa muhomwe right from the start. Dynamos came with a plan. He came with players. Dynamos came up with a plan. So at the end
exactly.
of the day, we had players that were playing against a structure.
Mm, mm.
You know, so
Yeah,
I think
that Dynamo's coach is good. And you know the mistake that he made. He played Kama as a 9 and we all know that Kama is not a physical again. So Dynamos just made sure they played a very physical game to make things very uncomfortable. Because Kama, when he plays as a 9, he wants to be a false 9 guy moving around and making touches. But they were very physical. So he should have realized that and probably put Msona there. Anobona kuhold up or that. Just say. You remember your video yakaneta frame.
yeah, yeah, frame.
Frame. Yeah, maybe there was a game you damn a frame, then Tama would then be around at time Mirama knocked down.
He has been good coming from the flanks. You know,
Yeah.
he has been good coming from the flanks. So now when those legs have been taken away, my flanks are, it becomes very difficult for anyone. But did you, of late, you know, our goalkeeping? Do we have a serious goalkeepers that can cut corners?
Goalkeeping crisis. One, it's lack of junior football development, lack of games because goalkeepers they gain experience by playing. You need to play a lot of games. You need to macrosses are due and you need to learn to pick up macrosses against my physical challenges. So experience. Our boys are getting to Premier League. Akatamba very few games to school level. Then maybe Antamba very few games with D1. Then suddenly is now a Dimbare Caps United or a Scotland coach. If you compare that same player to Mali Tavazia has not played my first team games and it, but he would have played hundreds and hundreds and thousands of games from school, junior level up to B team Kwarigo. So you'll be used. Then number two, it's physique charger Ndimba Ndimba. As a goalkeeper in the modern game, you also need to be strong, as well as being able to play with feet, but you need to be strong because you'll be challenged. So fana mwajo unaona makipa ndaraiti sana energy. You remember energy Murambador?
With presence, baba yacho, presence
Yes,
yacho
yes,
haitongozviona wega.
yeah. So I don't know. What do you think?
I think you are very much right to say, you know, I've watched this other game raka Mtasa paakakrosa, Lincoln paakakrosa, paakarova kona, the guy headwa, it bounced right in front of the goalkeeper and the goalkeeper went down in the ball. The guy was, no, but this, in order for it
It
to
should
put his
have been
head,
big.
goalkeeper should have actually managed to do that. I don't know. Probably these days, the way how they are being coached is not for them to go for the ball when it's being crossed. But I think they could have actually done better.
Yeah, they could have. Do you have anything else that you want to raise today? Before we go.
So I think that and you know, the women's soccer, you can actually see that is something we can't talk about how the how managed to beat Man U, that we cannot talk about. But I think
What's your team, Red? Are you Man City or Man U?
no, I'm Bayern Munich.
You don't have a team in England.
No, I'm Bayern. It's real Bayern.
Ah, mdara tikanyatsoya tikasecha matu ane majezere kumba kwenyu.
I might actually be going for City because of Mfana.
Oh, because of your son. Okay.
Hey, I might be
In
going for City.
Liverpool, we are playing tomorrow. I'm excited with our new coach. Waiting to see what happens. I've been watching the preseason games for Liverpool. They are now intense as Liverpool that we know. So this season as a Liverpool fan, I don't mind losing many games. We just want to see intensity and style of play in Nakidza that we know from Liverpool. Yeah. So Man U, they were outcoached, I think. Hull City came in, they played their set pieces, they scored, they closed. They had no answers for them.
Yeah, I think
As
we
as the
celebrated.
as Tottenham finished, because they were Angola but off. Yet they paid a lot of money for many players.
Yeah, I think
They were beaten 3-0.
no. This time Tottenham, if they are not serious, they'll get out. They won't be playing Premiership football anymore.
They've got a good coach though. So I'm not
Mhm.
really scared for them. Yeah. What I just
Yeah.
want is Arsenal winning another.
There's a very good possibility. And what I was thinking is City still has good players, but I don't know whether Maresca is good enough for
Nah,
yeah.
he's not good enough. I think Arsenal is the greatest chance to retain it.
And
Chelsea maybe a dark horse. Why? They don't have Europe.
Villa.
Villa, nah. Villa, no. They don't have a squad. That's the problem.
Their squad, the squad that they have, they're average players, good average, not good average players. They're good players, but they can gel very well.
Yeah, they
And
gel
do you
very
know?
well. But the problem is, if you have a first 11, you're playing in Europe. Msina squad inokwanisa kuzokubatsira if you have injuries and midweek, then it's tricky. That's the problem with Villa.
Remember, they're European champions, right?
Yeah, I know. Europa League.
So they've been invited to go up.
Yeah. Emery is a very good Europa League coach.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think he doesn't he have a record of winning the most? Because he won
He
a lot with
was.
Villarreal and yeah.
So let's see how it goes. But the last but not least, I think what happened at the World Cup and the fines that were given the Argentinian coach, I think FIFA was so lenient. If that had happened in Africa, people were going to
It
be
has been
banned for
banned.
life. But I think that is it may.
They
That
have been
probably
soft on
their
them.
own reasons. Yeah, their reasons and stuff.
Yeah, it's tricky. Yeah, they also lost the final, I guess. So
Mm-hmm.
just allow them to play, and we'll see.
Aurove munhu akarara, baba, you don't kick somebody who's down.
Yeah,
You know.
yeah. So maybe
So I think
they forgave him. And Senegal has appointed Vieira. Are you
that's a very good
happy with
move,
that?
I think.
Yeah.
That's a very good move for me. But again, it comes back to say uh, the player power spoke. And it also boils down to say when the Lions of Terranka won that cup, it was not the coach. It was the
That's the
players.
players.
So even at the World Cup, it was not the coach, it was the players. But when the coach tried to intervene, that's when he ruined the whole game. But I think he has done a very good job. You'll find a country or a club that he can actually play for. In fact, the crop of a coach that he is reminds us of the strength that we have, that a local can still do the job and then qualify.
Yeah. But where
Because
are local? Because they were raised in the French system, sort of. They were, in terms of their coaching, they were trained in the French system. So, they are Senegalese coaches, but they came from France. Like
You're talking about the new one or the old one?
Even the new one, of course, he was born in Senegal, but he, in terms of his coaching, he was trained in France, and he then came back home. But after getting his training and all from France, and he played over 15 years, I think, in France. So he was.
Because if you ask me, man is more patriotic to Senegal than the coach.
Of course.
Because when he was at his prime, the coach never chose Senegal, but chose France. And Mane, he could have done the same, but decided to go for his actual team. So when Mane plays for Senegal, he's playing for this is Senegal.
Yeah.
And when the coach is coaching Senegal, he's trying to prove that I'm one of you.
Yeah.
Throw us away. You
Yeah.
see, and he can even tell them that no, I won a World Cup. You see, and yet it doesn't belong to Senegal. But I think that as it is, it also reflects that our diaspora communities are actually coming back home. But unfortunately, they are coming back home just like what is happening in the diaspora. They are taking Africa to be a retiring place. They're coming home when they've actually exhausted super or Bambusala Mabones.
But Vieira is still a young coach. Yeah. He's still a young coach.
We didn't want him as a coach. We wanted him as a player.
Wanted him as a player. But that's the thing. We come back to the likes of Zifa. What conditions are you putting in place for the youngsters who have grown up in the diaspora for them to be able to come back, as well as you parents of children who are in the diaspora? Are you teaching them about their roots, probably? Yeah, because if you start telling me about Zimbabwe, it's 20-year-old or 25-year-old or 22 years old, when I've been raised somewhere else, you now want me to just come to Zimbabwe. Why? I don't know you.
Yeah,
So,
I think those are very good points, Baba. Those are very good points. Wherever we go, who we are should not be defined by where we are. It should be defined by where we're coming from. I think it also boggles down to say, at home, do you have that culture of saying, this is who I am? But I think now, right?
If we're organized, we can beat them, because we now have home advantage. That National Sports Stadium is very intimidating with a lot of noise. Yeah, just people will come.
Team yao. Because Baba, pound for pound, we don't need superstars. We need average players. Those that we saw,
those who can
pound
work
for pound, they can graft ball. Pound for pound, they can just.
We need players
so now
who can work, and probably that's where match fitness comes in. We need players who are match fit. I hope the likes of Mafe, with the quick move, I hope he's now playing, because we need players who run, work.
OJ Mbonsiro mavumda Mbumsie mavacha mbona new team Mbumsie amboita zokunyutsiwa.
No, I like him. I'm one of the people who have always liked Mafe. He's from Villa, from Bangad, Belgium and stuff. I like Mafe. I understand this game. If he is fit, he's the best that we have in that midfield. He needs to play.
Yeah, I think Zifa now what he needs to do is just to organize 2-3 games before the DRC, before the DRC games.
Manja, abasina time when again. We
Because
should
it's
have
September,
used,
right?
yeah, we should have used the June after that tournament. Not June, when they were preparing for my World Cup, we should have used those days to get games, international games.
Yeah, and I think the last thing that I can say to Zifa is that calling people a week before a game is not as good enough now. 14 days, let's utilize that calendar and then do things well on time. I believe, I've got faith in them.
Yeah.
Even though I love them with a passion, and sometimes when they miss the point, I also do that with a passion.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the only way we can go. Thank you so much, Oliver, and thanks to Prince who was here earlier, as we discussed the new Warriors coach, the National Sports Stadium, Mighty Warriors, other African teams as well. So please do keep your comments coming. Tell us what you want to hear. And I know we've promised to bring Mr. Ngodzo. He's coming soon. It's just that the schedules are clashing with his day job as well as a coach. So we hope in the coming few weeks we will have him. We also expect to have some other stars who are going to be coming in the coming 2 weeks. So we'll tell you the names when it's ready, but I think you enjoy also seeing the legends speak to us. So yeah, thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, and have a nice day. Bye. Bye all.